Well, 39 games into the season, who would have thought the Detroit Pistons would be one game over 500? Not me, and I'm sure you guys didn't either. And earlier in the season, the talk was, what should the Detroit Pistons do at the trade deadline? We have the most cap space in the league. Are we going to be the third team so stars can go to another team and we take on contracts and get a bunch of draft picks? Well, we are exceeding expectations, and now we're at a spot going into the trade deadline where you're thinking, should we go get Cade Cunningham, another star to play with Cade Cunningham so he can compete in the playoffs this year? Should we go get just another role player that's going to help this team grow a little bit? I'm all for it. I think we should go get Jimmy Butler. This is going to be an unpopular opinion because a lot of people think Jimmy Butler is not a good person or a cancer to the locker room, but I think he would fit so good here in Detroit. And what I think the Detroit Pistons are missing right now is a true scoring four. There's nothing wrong with Tim Hardaway Jr., there's nothing wrong with Malik Beasley, and there's nothing wrong with Tobias Harris right now, but they're not the star that's going to take this Detroit Pistons team to the next level. That's what this NBA is all about. You have your superstar and you got to give him a supporting cast, and whether it be another star or it be a couple role players, we need more three-point shooting on this team. It's completely evident. If we got a true scoring four, this team would be going to the next level. And I'm not saying they're competing for a championship. They're not close to that right now, but they could compete for the 3 seed, the 4 seed, the 5 seed, the 6 seed. Go look at the standings right now. We're only a couple games back from that number 3 seed. So they're competing this year, and it's time to take this trade deadline serious, in my opinion. I want to, like I said earlier, I want to go get Jimmy Butler. I want to go get a Brandon Ingram. I want to go get a Zach LaVine. I want someone that's going to come in here and they can shoot the lights out to help Cade out. Cade's putting up these godly numbers with players like Tobias Harris, where nothing's wrong with Tobias Harris. He's doing very solid, but earlier in the season he was missing threes. And Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley, yes, they're very not consistent, but they're very reliable three-point shooters. But when their shots off, it's like, man, this is a gameless Detroit Pistons team. Game's gonna lose. So what are your guys' take on this? Should they go take on contracts? My opinion with taking on contracts is, like, you're gonna take on a contract, you're gonna get all these draft picks, and what happens with these draft picks? What is Detroit shown you in the draft? Are we capable of going to get a star in the later of the first round and late in the second round? I think the draft picks we just can get rid of all these draft picks, in my opinion, because the luck of the NBA draft for this Detroit Pistons team has not been there. If we got in the lottery, what's it matter? We're not going to get the number 1 pick, and I don't want to pick someone at number 7. I don't want to pick someone at number 8. I want to pick someone at 13. I'd rather go get somebody that's going to come in here and help this Detroit Pistons team win right now, whether that be Bradley Beal, whether that be Brandon Ingram, whether that be Zion Williamson. I wouldn't mind Zion Williamson here if he could stay healthy. I don't care. These contracts, your young core, the only untradeable assets for this Detroit Pistons team right now is Cade, Asar, Jaden Ivey, and Ron Holland. Those are your four. That's your young core. And I used to include Jalen Duren in that. He's been performing better as of late, especially in January. But earlier in the season, he was really struggling, and it was kind of holding this Detroit Pistons back. Maybe he's starting to find his own, and maybe he's starting to become part of that young core. But the tradable pieces on this Detroit Pistons team is Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, unfortunately, because right now I want to keep Malik Beasley just because of his veteran presence. He likes the city and he can shoot the lights out from the 3, but he could be a valuable trade asset for somebody that's a contender that's trying to win the NBA championship this year. So we'll see what happens with that. But you got Tim Hardaway Jr., you got Malik Beasley. Who else you got? The Stewart, you could probably trade. There's enough tradable assets where you can package it with a couple draft picks and where you could go get your star like Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine. Would you guys want Zach LaVine because he's coming off that season-ending injury? I wouldn't mind Zach LaVine because I read something this morning that he's shooting the lights out. In the month of January, he's been averaging like 34 points per game, 44% from the three-point land. These are players that would help Cade Cunningham go from borderline all-star, from borderline first all-NBA team to all-NBA team and in the MVP conversation. This is what I've been saying all along with Cade Cunningham. He's starting to flow into his own, starting to become into his own superstardom, is you got to get him some competent pieces around him. And look what you did this year. You got some competent pieces around him, people that can space the floor out. And look what he's doing. Last night he had 17 assists. He put up 22 points and 10 rebounds. It's his 7th triple-double of the season. That's his third 15 plus assist game. Dude's been on a tear. Dude's a stud. Dude's a star. Dude's a superstar. And all we've been needing to get him is someone that could come in here and match him. And Jaden Ivey's part of that young core too. Don't get that wrong. I don't think I included him earlier, but he's been hurt right now. And when Jaden Ivey wasn't hurt, he was balling out too. So you got somebody. Now go get yourself a true scoring big. That's what I really think this Detroit Pistons team should do. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.